All right, so I'm going to go over some of the questions that people seem to be struggling with on the last assessment. I'm going to go over the questions from version A. If you had version B, you can follow along with what I did. You will just have different numbers, but you'll see the steps that we do. All right, so for this question number 9, we have the absolute value of 79 minus 132. We treat the absolute value like it's a parentheses, so we need to do what's on the inside first because it's grouped together. So that means that we need to do 79 minus 132 first. So now we look and see, all right, well, we can treat them both as positive numbers because we have different signs, and we're going to take the larger number and subtract the smaller one. So 132 minus 79, okay, then we get 53. But since the larger number was negative, that means that this is actually negative 53. However, what some of you forgot to do is you forgot to take the absolute value of it. So the absolute value of negative 53 I know is equal to positive 53 because we're finding the distance between that number negative 53 and 0. And remember, the distance is always measured as a positive number, so it's going to give us positive 53. So we need to do what's on the inside first. What some people did is they did the absolute value of 79 is 79. Then they did the absolute value of 132, or negative 132 is 132, and they added them together. But that is incorrect. All right, so same thing with number 12. Number 12, we need to do everything that's on the inside, and then we'll take the absolute value at the end because we treat it as a grouping. So we need to do what's on the inside first. All right, so it doesn't matter the order in which you do this. I'm going to add 85 and 139 together first. So 85 plus 139. So I'm going to add these together. I then get 11, 12, carry to 1, so it'll be 224. So now I'm left with 224 minus 212. So now from here, it's just a regular problem that we all should be able to do. 224 minus 212 is a positive 12. So now we get the absolute value of positive 12. And remember, we're dealing with how far away is 12 from 0 in the number line. Well, it's 12 units away. It is also positive. Some of you were confusing the opposites with the absolute value, and you would make your positive numbers negative and say that this was negative 12. All right, but also make sure that you're showing your steps along the way that you are taking the absolute value of this 12 at the end. All right, show all of your work. Okay, so for this number 13, what some of you are doing is you are distributing this negative sign in, and then you're trying to change your signs there, or you saw minus and negative and you changed it to plus. However, we need to do what's on the inside of here first, and we're subtracting whatever the absolute value of this is. So what that means is we are subtracting whatever comes out of this. So we're not changing any of the signs in there or saying, okay, well, minus and negative turns to positive. This is going to remain a minus, right? Because we're subtracting whatever the absolute value gives us. So I'm going to go ahead and do these off to the side. So the absolute value is 79 plus 38. So since they're both positive, we can just go ahead and add those together. So this will give me 17, carry to 1. This gives me 11. So then it's the absolute value of 117, which we then know is equal to 117. So this becomes 117. And then over here, we have the absolute value of negative 125 minus 77. So since they're both the same sign, I can go ahead and add them together. So this would then give me 12. So this would give me 9, 10, and then this gives me 2. And since they were both negative, I know it's the absolute value of negative 202, which is also positive 202. So it becomes minus 202. All right. This gives us a positive number, but we are subtracting it. So that's why that's still minus 202. So now I see that my signs are different. So I can look at them both as positive numbers. And I can take the larger number and subtract the smaller one. So 202 minus 117. All right, so this will then give me 1. This will then give me 10 after I borrow the 1. Then I need to borrow 1 from that, so it moves to a 9. So 12 minus 5 is going to, or 12 minus 7 is going to give me 5. 9 minus 1 gives me 8, and the 1s will then cancel out to give me 0. Since our larger number, 202, was actually negative, that means that our final answer is going to be negative. So it's negative 85. All right, I'm going to erase everything that was written here. Or, no, I'll just go ahead and start 14 in case you guys need to. And I'll start it over here. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite this because I see a minus and negative. And I know when I subtract the negative, it's going to turn to a positive. So 78 plus 182 minus 864 plus 312. All right, now To make this a little bit easier for me, I'm going to get rid of all my positive numbers by combining them. So I'm going to add these three together. So 312 plus 182 plus 78. So I'm just going to add them all together so this way I can combine those three numbers into one. Well, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 8 is 12, so I'll carry to 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 8 is 10, plus 7 is 17, carry to 1. And 3 plus 2 gives me 5. So now this is the same thing as 572 minus 864. Since the signs are different, I'm going to go ahead and look at these as positive numbers. So 572 and 864. Well, 864 is greater, so it's 864 minus 572. So this will then give me 2. I can borrow the 1 from here. This gives me 7. So 16 minus 7 is 9. And 7 minus 5 is 2. However, since the larger number was 864, and that was actually a negative number, this final answer will give me negative 292. All right, and then the last question that we're going to go through is this question here. And the reason why I just did this, chose this one is just, it just had multiple absolute values for us to deal with. So the first thing I'm going to do is do this one over here. The absolute value of negative 32 plus 15. Well, when I'm subtracting or adding different numbers, I can go ahead and make them both positive. I can do the larger minus the smaller. And this is then going to borrow from here. So it'll give me 12 minus 5 is 7. 2 minus 1 is 1. And then I know that the larger number was negative, so it's actually the absolute value of negative 17, which I know is going to give me a positive 17. Well, the absolute value of negative 22 is positive 22, so it becomes plus 22 and minus 81. I'm going to add these two together just to simplify my positive number. So 17 plus 22 is then going to give me 39. So now I'm left with 39 minus 81. So I can look at them both as positive numbers. I'm going to take the larger number, 81. Let me just cut this off. 81, I'm going to subtract the smaller number, 39. So I can borrow from here. 11 minus 9 is 2. 7 minus 3 is 4. And since the larger number actually followed the negative sign, that means that this answer is actually negative 42. So our final answer is negative 42. All right, that is it for this video.